starting with expression of clone proteins in cells, clone genes for protein production. All right. So when we think of cloning the gene for protein production in medical biotechnology, that essentially mean that we are hunting for actually a pharmaceutical product. All right. We are hunting for a pharmaceutical product. Now, all of you know that we have two kinds of vectors for the purpose. One of the category is cloning vectors and another category is expression vectors. So whenever you desire to bring the gene number in high amount, you basically go for cloning vector. And whenever you wish to express the protein, you would need to have a expression vector. Now there are certain hosts which can be utilized for cloning of the gene. One is the E. coli, that is the simplest host, and it can be effectively used for cloning and expression of the protein. Okay, so E. coli is the simplest host. The benefits of E. coli we will be shortly talking. Then the next category of the host is fungi. Okay, fungi are, all of you know, E. coli is the prokaryotic system, while fungi is the eukaryotic system. Okay, and after fungi, if you are capable of doing things in fungi, fine. Otherwise, insects are used, insects cell lines, they are used. And if you fail to produce your protein of interest in insects also, then you move ahead with mammalian cells. And finally also the transgenic animals are utilized for expression of the clone protein or expression of desired proteins. So these are transgenic animals. Now one part of your syllabus covers that need to express in mammalian cells. So what is the need of expression in the mammalian cells? When we have very simple systems with us like E. coli, like fungi, insect, all of us know that working with bacteria is very easy. The reason behind that is bacteria can be, if you are working with bacteria, all of you know manipulation of bacteria is very easy. You can easily manipulate the bacteria. Manipulation is easy. Okay, next is bacteria can be, the culture can be scaled up. It's very easy to go from 1 liter flask to 1 lakh liter capacity bioreactor. So scaling up of the bacterial culture is very easy. The doubling time is short. Bacteria doubles in very short time. So doubling time, or you can say the formation of new cell from the pre-existing bacterial cell is very quick as compared to other cell system. The media requirements are simple. Media requirements of growing and using bacteria, they are absolutely very simple. So bacteria is the most preferable host that way. Preferable host for production of, for cloning as well as expression. Now these genes which we are basically going to discuss about, these genes are basically going to encode some pharmaceutical product. Okay, these can be insulin, production of insulin, it can be production of interferon, it can be production of tissue plasminogen activator, it can be, insulin, then it can be any other pharmaceutical product, it can be antibodies, it can be other products. Many products are there which are there in the market, which are basically produced from these cells. Now there are certain limitations of each of these vectors which we have talked about. There are limitations with E. coli, there are limitations with fungi, there are limitations with insects. Therefore we don't have any choice, but we will have to use mammalian cells for the large scale production of the therapeutic proteins. So now we will be talking about what are the limitations of the foreign gene to be expressed in bacteria, and what are the limitations of bacteria for expression of the foreign gene. So we will basically start with prokaryotic system. Now in the prokaryotic system we are going to use the human gene. So human gene, all of you know, there are some problems which are associated with human gene, and the problems which are associated with human gene for getting expressed in bacteria, these are number one is, all of you know, our genes, they contain introns, and in this system the intron removal machinery is not present. So introns are non-coding sequences which are found in between the gene. So these are exons and they are interspersed with introns. So our genes normally they contain introns. The second problem with our gene is that we have got 64 codons. Some of them are nonsense and other are sense codons. Now there might be basic by, though we have universal codon system, but we do have certain codons which are acting as terminating codon in the E. coli, termination codon in E. coli, while they are normal codon in or they may have the signals which they may have a codons which may act as termination signals in E. coli. Okay, now these termination signals, if they are present, they will result in premature termination of protein synthesis. Premature termination of protein synthesis. Another important aspect with foreign gene can be codon bias. Now, out of these 64 codons, normally each cell or each organism, like each species, it contains a preference towards a particular codon. Okay, there is preference towards a particular codon. Now, that according to that preference for the codon, we have the tRNA for transfer of amino acid to the growing mRNA chain. So, there is a preference for these codons. Now, working with human gene and E. coli, there can be codon bias. Like for example, in E. coli gene, most of the proline codons are the codons which are going to encode proline. They are CCG, while in a human gene, the proline codons are CCA, CCT, CCA, CCC. But this G, which is the bias at third base, that we don't see in human gene. So because we are going to express human gene in the E. coli, so sometimes this codon bias may result in very low translation. Okay, so bias basically reflects the efficiency with which the transfer RNA molecule in an organism, they are able to recognize the different codons. So because of codon bias, there will be they are not ideal for translation in E. coli. So they have difficulty translating the proline codon in human gene. Now when they have difficulty in translation of this codon, then what will happen? The rate of translation would be reduced. Rate of translation is largely reduced. Now talking about these problems which are present with foreign gene. So the first problem was presence of intron. So now with advanced tools and techniques of genetics, we can have a cDNA copy, or we can provide intronless copy. So intronless copy will bypass, supply of intronless copy to E. coli will bypass the limitation of the human gene. So human gene can be easily transcribed and translated in E. coli because we have provided the intronless copy. The other thing which we discussed was presence of termination signals. So termination signals, they also can be engineered. So termination signals, they can be engineered, and after engineering we can do it the way in which they are efficiently working in E. coli. So efficiently working in E. coli. And the third problem was codon bias. So since now nucleotide biosynthesis and gene synthesis is possible, so we will synthesize the gene in a way, synthesize it so that Codon bias is not there. Codon bias is not present. So we have solved all the three problems which are associated with foreign gene. So presence of intron was a problem, so we have provided intronless copy to E. coli. The termination signals were problem, so we have already engineered so that these termination signals are no problem in E. coli. And the codon bias problem is also solved by synthesizing the gene which is not having any kind of issue in E. coli. Now these were the problems which were associated with foreign gene. Now there are some inherent problems with E. coli as well. So what happens with E. coli being a prokaryotic system? Okay, E. coli doesn't have the machinery for processing of appropriate processing of recombinant protein. Now these limitations which are very important, what happens normally is after translation process, the protein undergoes post-translational modification. The protein undergoes post-translational modifications, and one of the important modifications in these protein is glycosylation. Okay, so E. coli, there are some strains which are getting engineered to solve this issue, but E. coli in general, it cannot do glycosylation, glycosylation is very uncommon in bacteria. It is very uncommon in bacteria. Okay, so now what happens is if your protein is glycosylated, so E. coli is not the preferred host for the large scale production of your protein. Sometimes E. coli is also not able to give you appropriate folding of recombinant protein. So E. coli might not fold the recombinant protein correctly as it lacks the ability to form disulfide bonds. Okay, it cannot form disulfide bonds which are present in animal cells. So incorrectly folded protein usually is insoluble in E. coli. So it becomes insoluble, and sometimes after it is insoluble, it goes to inclusion bodies. Now if it goes to inclusion bodies within the bacterium, so recovery of protein from inclusion body becomes very, very difficult. So recovery of protein from inclusion body is difficult, or it is very, very time consuming and expensive, or sometimes it is impossible to come up with active protein. It is impossible to come up with active protein. Another issue with E. coli is that it can degrade the recombinant protein. So now as you can see, we have solved all the problems which were related to mammalian gene. So we have solved the problems for introns by providing intronless copy. We have solved the problem of the termination signals present in between. So this problem is also solved. The codon bias thing is also solved. But when we talk about the limitations of E. coli, then processing of recombinant protein becomes very, very difficult, because post-translational modification, particularly glycosylation, which is very important, it is very uncommon in bacteria. Then folding of recombinant protein may be a problem, and protein can go to inclusion body. Now when we talk about this inclusion body, so production of tissue plasminogen activator was possible in bacteria, but tissue plasminogen activator somehow is put by bacteria in the inclusion body. Now separation of tissue plasminogen activator from inclusion body is more time consuming and expensive than producing TPA in mammalian cells. So now TPA is being produced in mammalian cells, and in fact 70% of the recombinant proteins, they are actually produced in mammalian cells. So these are some of the limitations of E. coli, because of which you are not able to produce your recombinant proteins in E. coli. But in case your protein is non-glycosylated, you can use E. coli as preferred host. In case the protein folding is easier under in vitro condition outside the E. coli, then E. coli can be used as host. And if the degradation of recombinant protein is not occurring, E. coli can be used as host. So because of these reasons, insulin is primarily produced in E. coli. Insulin for production of insulin, E. coli is the preferred host. Even for growth factors and all, also E. coli is being used, but other vectors are being tried for production of foreign proteins. So because of these limitations of E. coli, we will now explore the second system, which is your fungal system for production of recombinant proteins.